Hi, Will.
Yo, JD, what's good?
A lot is good.
That's awesome. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too, man. How was your New Year's celebration?
It was pretty good. I actually didn't do anything. Like, I actually used New Year's as like a time for myself, which was, I thought, pretty good and important for me. Like, I was out the late the night before for like board game night. I was just hanging out with like Joe and the guys,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I slept at like 3, and then I had to wake up on like the New Year's Eve day for work, right? So I got like maybe like 3.5 hours of sleep. So then I like ended work, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap, and then I'm going to like go out after that, right? And I get home, it's like all rainy and stuff, and then like I nap till like 10:30, and I got home at like 7:30 for context. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not going out. So I had like a nice little time for myself, which was good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I think um, I think New Year's is kind of overblown to begin with. I think like has a really nice message to it. Like it gives us an opportunity to reflect and set goals and all that stuff. But in terms of the actual celebration, um, yeah, I mean, there's been hit or miss New
It's like
Year's.
an
Had
overrated holiday, I
yeah,
think. And it's not
yeah,
even not everyone even celebrates that as the new year, right? Like that's another thing.
that's very true. You got the Chinese and the Jews.
Yep.
They got their different ones going on. And that's all I'll comment about that because I don't know when those are, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, so do you feel different after New Year's? Do you feel like a new sense of drive? Because I actually feel like I had like a burst of energy like yesterday after
yeah.
work,
Really?
which is rare. Um, I have kind of a motivation for today, which is cool. Like I already practiced this morning and did my
Oh, that's nice.
journaling and yeah, so that's kind of rare too for weekends for me. Usually I
Hmm.
just kind of sleep in on Saturday, slow getting up, watch TV, and if I have class, I'll go to class. But do you feel that yourself?
Actually, I felt that like before the holiday season, which is interesting.
Word.
I feel like now, like I'm just trying to like get back into the rhythm of it, of back what I was doing, because like the holiday sort of like threw me off and stuff like that. But like, overall, like I'm excited for the new year. I think it's gonna be good. I think Though I think like for me it doesn't matter so much that it's a new year. Like when I just set the goals, I'll just set them when they come, right?
Right, 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 right.
And like I was making a lot of good changes beforehand, so I'm not like too worried about making any more new changes after that. It's more about just being consistent with them.
Right. That's something I wanted to talk about a little bit was and it's something that I'm always thinking about, so I'm probably going to be redundant here, but it's about habits.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, go for it.
just yeah, so when we're setting habits, it's good to like obviously you have an idea of what you want. Let's say 20 minutes practicing tech skill a day,
Mm-hmm.
and you sit down, you do it, you feel good after you do it. Then a couple weeks go by, you set the habit, and
Mm-hmm.
there's this weird feeling that I get where it's like like I go from thinking short term to kind of fearing long term failure. Like, oh, I have to keep this up or else I failed. It's a weird because I feel that before I feel proud for even doing what I've done,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that like I think I need to catch myself and stop early. Like whenever I feel disappointed or not even disappointed, I guess just fearful of how this habit is going to be maintained. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel good about it. It's weird. Do you have anything similar to that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely for me, I think it's like I get fearful that I won't be able to keep it up, but I don't think that motivates me to actually keep doing it. So like
Right.
I'm actually curious on like what specific habit you're thinking about, but at least for me, the way I found that like I can change habits is like I have to like convince myself, not convince myself, but like really believe that like this is like me now. Like so for me, like I was reading um Cian is this Street Fighter player, and he always like quotes, like he always like shows pages of books he's reading in psychology and stuff like that. And so it's always really interesting. And I remember him sharing like a few pages from like this. textbook or some psych book, and it was like, there's two ways that people generally change habits, and like one is generally like, you change the habit and then eventually you become that. Like you're like, so like you say like you commit to practicing every day as a player, right? And so eventually that becomes it, so that you're a guy that always practices every day, right? And so eventually it becomes like your identity per se,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like another way you can view that is from the start. For me, it sort of works the opposite way, where I won't do it if I really don't think it's like beneficial to me or like anything like that. Like I won't force myself to do it, or not even force myself. Like it's just like I won't have the motivation to do it. But if I really like believe that I'm like a person that does that, or like I want to be a person that does that, and it becomes like more of like an identity change for me, then I'll do it.
Hmm.
So like I did that a lot with like when I started like trying to eat less takeout and like cook a lot more for my own and stuff like that, and being like, I am a person that like cooks regularly and meal preps, or I am a person that like practices mindfulness, and like that's how I end up changing my habits.
Interesting. So don't you think? And I think that's great. And I actually, once you said that, I'm reminding myself that like that's something that I've been doing with another habit I even forgot about, which was eating out less for lunch was something that I really felt like I needed to do for a financial thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a
As we all
recent
do.
recent change. I've just been like eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at my desk, just make
Mm-hmm.
it on my desk. And that is a thought that I had, was like, I wanted to go out for lunch. I'm like, no, I'm not a person that does that, which is kind of lying to ourselves, because for so long I was that person. But at the same time, it makes sense to say that because you're speaking in the present tense. This is who you are now. It's very easy to shed an identity if you just believe it and then continue it. So I think what I'm afraid of is setting myself up to be a person. And let's say I try to set myself up as someone. I am someone who wakes up and exercises, and I'm someone who journals every day, and I'm someone who practices every day, and I'm someone who gets my work done, and I'm someone who has new projects. Like all these habits. I think I've just been trying to juggle so many at the same time
Mm-hmm.
that I'm. But I actually think I'm doing a good job, which is the other part of it, where I've been in this position before, like in college. I was the type of person to take up so many different projects and then just stress out about it. And I actually had a mantra that I would repeat to myself every day, which was, life is hard, but life is good. And I
I love
needed to
that.
say that to like acknowledge that I was in a rough spot, or not even in a rough spot, just like feeling very stressed often.
Mm-hmm.
And then also taking into account like I'm very lucky to be here. These are helping me. Life is good. And I haven't said that mantra in a while, probably because I've just gotten to the point where I'm better at handling all these responsibilities, and now it's
Yeah.
just a matter of um, staying mindful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this podcast is very man. We keep talking about how much we like it. We're so happy with it. But
It's self healing,
yeah,
It's important.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's a. Oh my God, God bless you.
Thank you, thank you.
Leave it in.
I
Um,
know. No warning.
so that's where I'm at, is
Yeah.
trying to maintain all these new habits. But the weird feeling I had was like, okay, am I like losing sight of long term goals when I just focus on setting these habits down and kind of nailing down my lifestyle? Um,
Mm.
and I think it's a silly thing to, it's pretty frivolous, because I'm always thinking about long term. It's just a matter of making sure I don't derail myself with these thoughts that just pop in, the weird negative and pessimistic thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I'm really trying to say.
Yeah, I guess there's like three things that came to mind while you were like talking. Like first thing is like something my girlfriend always like tells herself and tells me, and it's like you can do everything you want to do, just not at the same time. And I think
Oh,
it's like I don't know, it's something so simple about that. You're like, yeah, that makes sense, right?
yeah, simple.
Um, So, yeah, I know, and I love simple shit like that. I think another thing is like, um, what you were talking about of like being like afraid and stuff like that, and like the having short term goals is that like I think you and I think are similar in the fact that like we are both people that do think about long term, and it's always in the back of our head. And correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, for sure.
So I think like, and it's similar. It's so similar to like me saying like, oh, I have to be disciplined in melee. I have to be disciplined in melee. It's like never once in my life have I been not disciplined in melee. So why am I so worried about it? If that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like if it's like inherently a trait of you that you will worry about it, I feel like there's no need to add extra fear in worrying about it, right? What needs like work is everything around that so that you can build on it, right?
Yeah.
And like I think I guess that's how I view it. Like, you know, like when I'm thinking like, oh, like I'm like, you know, I'm like worried I won't practice enough when this happens, or I'm worried like with this new like with me doing like more cooking and more working out and more stuff, like I won't have time for bailing and stuff like that. And like my girlfriend's always just like, you're never not gonna like study or train for melee. Like I've, you know, and like granted she's only known me for a year, but like even before that, she's like, have you ever done like not done that? And I'm like, no. So she's like, well, then you probably won't do it. You know, it's like already a character trait of yourself that's so inherent that like I feel like you don't need to waste extra. I feel I don't need to waste extra energy worrying about that because it's never gonna be. There's never gonna be a time where I'm like, okay, like you know, I don't want to play melee right now. There's too much going on, right?
Right.
Like I don't think that's ever like I got back from a flight. Like I was on a plane and I was texting people like, "Yo, fest when I get back. My flight lands at 8:30. I'll be home by 9." You know, like, and I got work the next day, and that's like, you know, like I feel like we don't need to worry about things that we inherently have already. You know,
Right.
so I guess that's how I'm viewing it, and I guess the third is like, um, I think you need a foundation, right? You can't look long term if you don't have a foundation, right? It's like and what you're building right now is a foundation that's very solid and very hard to like change once it gets going. And I think that's okay to like have as a term goal because it's going to give you the like the platform to do other things, you know, and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about the other things right now because you're just building the first level.
Right.
You're just laying down the bricks.
Yeah, I actually had that same exact thought today. Was just like taking stock of how young we both are,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that Gary V talks about. One of our favorite people to listen to and take advice from was just the concept of patience. And
Yeah.
you know, what would he say if we went up to him and complained about? Not saying we complain, but let's say we did, and we went up to him. We're like, Gary, like, I want to be. Our podcast isn't. People aren't listening to it as much as we want. What would he say? And
He
he would
would literally ask us like
episodes.
how many episodes are you in, and I go for, and then we'd be like
We're halfway to
six.
10. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean that's something to take solace in. Like this project, I'm not expecting to have any sort of traction for
Mm-hmm.
actually a year, which is why I'm all focused on like how what I'm getting out of it, and I'm getting sidetracked a little bit. But
No, go
um,
for it. It's our podcast.
yeah, right. We can do whatever the hell
Where
we
you
want.
want to go? You got the wheel.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say what we've been saying, which is this feels good for me. So this is something that I didn't even like. This has added practically zero stress except for the time where there was technical problems. But even
Oh
then,
yeah.
it was a really good like learning experience because
Mm-hmm.
like God forbid we had a huge project or you know something that we actually you know put up a photo shoot or something like that and then that got erased like it was whatever. So having projects like these is helping me take stock of the patience factor. Like I'm just planting. I feel like I'm planting a lot of seeds. Like practicing every day. That's planting seeds. My next major right now. I'm probably not going to Genesis, by the way.
Okay.
I'm trying to pull off Scorpius, so that'd be fun.
Okay. So I'll see you at Scorpius.
Are you? Oh, you're going to that?
I'm probably going to that.
Do you have a teammate,
Oh, I don't.
dude?
Is it happening?
Oh
You want
man.
to commit to me right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's Let's fucking do it.
Then one of us will do wanna, and the other one will do bees.
Yeah,
And we'll just pitch our podcast the whole time. We'll talk about mindfulness as. How about we record during each set?
yeah. Why not? Yeah, let's have fun with it.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, that was a fun thing to stumble into.
Though, I just want to give you an alternative. One could do SSB, and the other one could do WNBE. I already thought about this. So
I already thought
whichever one
about
you
this.
want.
Yeah, sure. I don't care.
All right,
But we're going to be double. I actually don't play a lot of double fox.
that's hype.
That is
That's
hype.
hype.
I think it's a very good team comp for
You don't
me,
have
though.
to worry about color though. That's a nice thing.
Right. Oh, we might, though, if someone else wants green.
Yeah, but who's gonna want green?
Yeah. People don't like green.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
get
the
it.
nice thing about being green.
Oh, who's going to be the light fox, though? I don't mind taking light fox.
Sure, I'll be the solid fox.
Dope. Man, okay, that was fun. What were we
Yeah.
talking about?
You were talking about like goals and like seeds.
Right,
You're sowing
right.
seeds.
Right. So this, like, I feel myself just now, like, this is probably week 2.5 of me practicing every day again.
Yeah.
And it started off as, actually, I timestamped that, so I could be proven wrong. I don't actually remember when I started, but I know I have a little bit of a streak going, and I already feel myself, like, just being really tight, just getting a solid, like, 50 seconds of fast, good, clean movement with difficult inputs and like throwing in all the things I'm trying to work on at the same time, I feel are getting better. So now I'm just getting excited again to start playing, in a tournament. And I think the best way to live whatever lifestyle I'm building right now, which is a whole bunch of different stuff that are fairly low stakes, is to just keep all these things going and make sure every single one is, to keep the metaphor going, like in the proper soil, watered every day, the right amount, and not to focus on it, just to make sure it gets the attention it needs. And then at some point it will bear fruit. And at that point, I will take stock over the whole experience and say, okay, that was good. Let me do it again. Let me continue this, and let me make sure that I'm doing enough. And if I feel like maybe I could put in another 10 minutes, let's go for that, and consistently just slow improvements. Theoretically, if I do that for a year, just imagine how successful I'll be. And then, like I was saying before, this is the point where I pivot from being hopeful to being like, oh shit, I've been in this position before. Like, I hope I don't mess this up,
No, I feel that. And I think like another thing is like, I think what's always hard is setting out these foundations and then like it being where like there's no ultimate direction, right? But I think, and that's like the scary part about it, but like what you're doing is like you could always just pivot, and like in the moment you'll always know what to do. It's just that you don't know what's going to happen,
right,
a few weeks or months from now, right?
Yeah, when it comes down to game time, like, it's up to the deities of Smash to decide who's going to win. And if you sacrificed enough, perhaps they'll let you take a victory. But
yeah, I guess, who said this? It's definitely a quote from a manga. And I'm sad I don't remember it. I think it's from Hajime no Ippo, which is this boxing manga that I like.
okay,
That's like my, like, how everyone has guilty pleasures? Any sports anime is my guilty pleasure.
they're nice though. I like the themes.
Yeah, but when you get caught up and you're like, wow, I just watched 2 seasons of cycling, and you're like, okay. Or like you hate baseball, but you're like, oh man, it's the pitcher versus the fourth batter. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's just
there's
like
definitely tropes in those.
there's so many
in those
tropes,
shows.
right? So I think, but back to the thing is like the quote was like something like, and I'm sure it's just a quote from an athlete also, right? But it's like, there's no one that like, there's like no, not, oh, it was like something like, not everyone who works hard gets rewarded,
Oof.
but everyone who is rewarded works hard.
Yeah,
And I think that's like has to be true, and I'm sure that's like a paraphrasing of like an actual sports quote that I don't know. But I think that's always it's like I think that's the issue is like when people like say like, oh, I put so much work to this, and the game's telling you, no, you need to put more work into this, right?
Right.
There's nothing you can do besides that, or just not do it at that point, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, it becomes your choice as like, do I want to put in more work? Because the game's telling you it's not enough yet, and it
Right.
doesn't matter whether you think it's enough.
Right. Right. And it's so hard to, yeah, this is the fuzzy area of like where we're at, and what our goals are within this game, because even getting wins is a weird like goal, because we don't even
Mm-hmm.
know who we're going to play. Everything is so jumbled day of, and we all, I think me and you are good at just setting the goal at playing well,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you even gauge that? Like, it's everything about pursuing melee is subjective until a win comes, and then it's out of your hands how people perceive it. Um,
Yeah, right.
the ranking
Like,
is not up to us; it's up to how people perceive us versus another person's skill. Both are very subjective things. Like that gets so fuzzy that the safest thing to do for mental health reasons is to kind of let it go and say I don't care where I get ranked. I just want to put the work in. But when it comes to like success, it's so hard to pin down what it
mhm.
means to have a successful melee career.
Yeah, and like people forget, and I think like always the trope is like you think about like SoCal players like Lucky or West Ball Square. Like a win on them means less because they're so their peaks and valleys are so volatile, you know.
Yes. Oh,
And like that's like like when West Balls lost to Ben or Vortex, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, like, West was having a bad day, but if that was like maybe someone like like Rishi or someone like that, it was like, oh yeah, Rishi doesn't have bad days. Like that's a good win, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I think it's just like it's tough, right? Because also like there's a spectrum. Like you could be playing like at 80% at their 20% and win, right? And I think people forget about that. Because people either think about like the worst you can play or the best you can play. But there's so much in between that it's hard to really grasp, you know?
Yeah. And it's weird because it feels like the only way that I feel successful is if I feel respected.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
such, that feels like it shouldn't be, like, it feels unhealthy. I
Hmm.
don't know if it necessarily is, because, like, that's one of the hierarchy of needs, is respect among peers. and
Yeah, of course.
and respect not as a human. I think everyone in the Smash community respects each other as humans, but to feel respected for the work
Some
I've put
better,
in, it's, well,
some better than others.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, that's a dicey topic.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, continue, continue.
Yeah, so how do I feel that? How do you gauge that? How do you make sure that you're not completely relying on that as something that makes you feel good? All these
Mm.
questions are, I think, one of the hardest things we're going to tackle because they directly affect us. We're inside of this bubble pretty much, which is the melee community. And how do
Hmm.
we set ourselves up for just generic life success when we've decided, or maybe not decided, to push ourselves in this game?
Mm.
It's a tricky subject, and I think me and you are in a good spot because we've earned kind of our stripes in a sense. And so I felt the urge to retire because I've been proud of what I've accomplished. But
Hmm.
um, I mean, I'm back now, so who knows what that is. It's all just so messy. Like, it, what do
I
you
feel
think?
that. Yeah, I mean, I guess going, it's tough to say, right? Like, I think definitely I get where you're saying because like I'm the opposite where I feel like I haven't I haven't done enough, which is interesting. Um, but I think oh my god, it's such an abstract thought. What's the core question again? Because we went
What is it?
zigzag a
What
little
does
bit.
it mean to have a successful melee career?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was talking about this with like miso and stuff like that. Or like I guess when everyone thinks of like successful melee career, right? It's hard not to like think about like when, because like you're looking at it like what is a successful melee career, like as if it was already over, so it was like in the past. But I think most people view it, at least I have viewed it this way, was like um when is it time for me to hang up the controller? You know, when can I when can I get rest, right? And like it's almost like a, and I guess that's the hard part, right? It's like when, man, it's such a hard topic to
Yeah.
actually like
Oh, definitely.
grasp around. Like I'm struggling, but I think like what is success, right? And I think I guess I want to first like preface it by saying like I don't know what success is because it's defined differently by everyone. I don't even know like what my success is, like whether I want to just make the top 100 or go farther or do something or just keep going with it. Like maybe my success has nothing to do about results or rankings, you know?
Hmm.
Maybe it's just about making sure I'd never like stop playing and stop improving on it, even if I'm like eventually in the future ranked, which that's a different question of what you believe you can do, right? But
Yeah.
that's different. But I think I don't know what my success is, and I'm okay with that. And I guess that's what I want to preface it by saying. And then I think after that, when we're thinking about like what's successful or not, like it's hard because, and maybe you would have like a little more insight of it because you like semi-retired at one point. Was that like, is there ever like, I guess it's like when, I think inherently, right, it's when you're not having fun with the game. And I guess that's a very easy overgeneralized way to view it, right? But it's the only one I can think of just because like, and having fun is like having happy about your wins or just having fun with the game and stuff like that, or just not having enough time to do it and it just stresses you out more than it gives you joy. Like I guess that's like a way you can view it as. But like I think it's hard for me to see that point of view because I don't think I'll ever stop loving the game. But I think also like I think one thing I love about competition and love about melee as much as like I'm sure other people love about other sports or competitions or anything, right? Even art or music or something like that, is that like victories don't last. It's such a in the moment thing that like once it happens, like there's so much build up to it, right? So much practice, so much stuff, and then you're in the game. And I know the Genesis winning trailer talked about this. It's like, you know, you can't celebrate it. You're still in the match and you're just thinking moment to moment, like, you know, what's, oh, he's doing X move, like, all right, how can I counterplay this?
Hmm.
Or oh, he's playing like this, how can I, and you have to like withhold this sense of victory until it happens. And then it happens for this like one split moment where you win and the crowd goes wild, or your friends jump at you, or you know, you pound that fist and you report the score, you know, and then it's gone, you know. And I think that's how I always thought about it, is like then it's gone, you don't have it anymore. And like it's, of course you want to like say like, oh man, like I beat him, like stuff like that, but it doesn't feel the same as actually beating him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's so, I mean, I may sound corny, and you can call me out on it, but like, I think that's so beautiful, right? Is that, and that's what I love, is that there's always, you get that one split second, it's gone, and you're chasing the next one after that, whether that's the next set or the next tournament or like 6 months from there, you know? Like, I think, so it's hard to say like what is successful, I guess, from my point of view, because um, I don't really know. But I guess on that tangent, and I know I said, but I guess so many times,
Hmm.
uh, is that like at least the results, like I think that that's such a cool thing about sports and competition and stuff like that, is that it's so fleeting as it is. It's so fleeting, right?
Yeah. I think that was a great answer because it comes down to just the ultimate feeling of playing Smash is getting a win that you weren't expected to get at any level. That feeling persists when you're going 0-2 and then you get your first win, first tournament win. You freak out. You're like, yes, finally. then that goes away and you're like, oh, I still ain't shit. Okay, let's go. And then you build yourself up. So it's tricky when you get to like mid-level where you're not getting that feeling as much and you're just going like you're seeded 7th, you play 7th. Let's say that happens every tournament for 2 months.
Oh, I was the king of that back like towards the end tail of Nebs.
Right? It's kind of the worst. And
it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
And it's worse than losing because at least when you get upset, you kind of get the fire back and you're like, oh, that's not going to happen again. And then you you know,
this punk ass bitch thinks he can do this and win. Oh, no. That's not happening.
Right. So
yeah,
it's tough to say what a successful career is, but I want to leave it on this because we got to take a little break.
Yeah.
It's making Melee a part of your life, but not making it your entire life. I think that is success. Even the top players have other things going on. They're either streaming or Mutsu King's writing a book, Hungrybox is still working, Armada quit, Leffen's playing other games. Like, Melee is not enough to sustain a happy life, and it's finding the balance where you could still endlessly reap the rewards of the best game ever made while still fulfilling obligations, while still working on a real career that you feel at least happy or that you feel like you're moving with, that you're at least putting in your work at school, that you're working on other hobbies, that you're expressing yourself creatively. I think that is for me, and I think it's generalized enough that I think a lot of people should be able to relate to it. I think that's the best way to enjoy Melee, and that should be a successful career. And even if you don't make waves, even if people don't know who you are, if you put in serious work and got better at the game, and then other things come along, as long as you don't quit Melee because you're tired of losing and you don't, you want to do other things, that's hard to call yourself a successful Melee player. But as long as the thing out of Melee is something equally fulfilling, then give yourself a pat on the back because you made your way out and you're doing pretty well.
And I think also, that was great. That was really great. And I think I just wanted to add like one quick like addition to that.
Sure.
Is that like also it's just there's not many communities where like you can chase a dream in such a quick amount of time. And I think like when you think about soccer or baseball or any organized sports or other like individual sports, like you see people who are like, oh, they've been playing since they were kids, and like you're just joining in college and stuff like that. And I think that's the great thing about any fighting game or any like of this like esports stuff is that you can start chasing that dream of like trying to get better like at any age, right? And like there's no like if I wanted to play soccer now, I love soccer, but I only started loving soccer when I moved to London when I was like 16. I'm not gonna play soccer,
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And there's so many things like that, or like, oh, you need to go to school first to become a doctor or whatever like that. And Melee is such a quick way to like chase a dream, right? And I think that's what's really cool about it also.
Wow. All right. I would want to talk about this more, but we do need to take a break.
Sounds good.
I'll see you in 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to talk to you about this show I have coming up.
Yeah. This is the variety show, right? For Encore. Yeah. That's hype. I'm sad I won't be there because I'll be at the Gigahog event in Connecticut.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people are gonna have to. It's gonna be split between 2 very close regionals.
Yeah. But at least you were telling me earlier, right, that you're like you care more about it being like a VOD you can like just rewatch than like it being live.
Right. And this is something that I've been talking to Barry, who's I suppose he's the head stream, also TTOs. He's big with these Encore. He ran the at the previous venue. He was running it there, so he's just been all over this. And he contacted me months ago, and he says, "Hey, I'm trying to do something different for these monthlies. I want to put together a different sort of content for this. I want to give you helms to the project, the reins, helm of the reign. What I don't know what I'm talking about, and I want you to put together something that's melee related, that's fun. You know, he gave me some ideas. One of the ideas he wanted to do was like a man on the street type thing, but I'm like, Slime already did that and he knocked it out of the park. I don't want to do that, but what I would do is like a live show, like a trivia thing. He goes,
Yeah.
great, okay. And I'm like, well, we can make it like a variety show. Maybe we could do some videos and like one or two videos to help with transitions, and we could have guests and trivia. And he's like, okay, well, I'll let you take care of it. And so our first one was originally going to be in November,
Yeah.
and we just have to. I mostly had to keep canceling because I had improv class that I couldn't miss. And one time I was going to go to California. Like, there's all these things that kept popping up. So we're like, all right, what about just January? Look, we'll just start the year with it. Okay, perfect. We got the date. Some overlap with Hog, as you said, but overall, once it was set in stone, it just like something clicked in my brain. Like, oh, I got a show. Let's prepare. And I'm really excited. It's been confirmed for like 2 or 3 days now. So, and maybe it was even was it yesterday? Did I make the post yesterday? I think I made the post yesterday.
I think you made it yesterday.
Yeah, so it's been confirmed for a day. And I'm really excited about it. I mean, I've already put together a ton of like I know all the trivia topics.
Oh, really? Can
Yeah.
you get a sneak peek, or you wanna?
Yeah, for the people who listen, I'll give a sneak peek. Sure. So right now we're going to do 3 trivia games that have 2 people each. So it's going to be 1 versus 1. Those 3 games are going to be the frame game, where I'm going to list a randomly generated move from a randomly generated character.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to guess how many frames from start to finish that move is. And
Okay.
depending on how close you are, you'll get a score. So I'm going to give I'm going to go back to back and give the exact same moves and characters to each person. And I haven't decided if we're going to do like, if you're closer, you get a point. I think that's the easiest way rather than like total frames missed, because then that's way more calculating.
Wait, so
yeah.
you're gonna do like closest frames, or will you give options like A, B, C, D? Like
Nope. Guess the frame.
Guess the frame. Okay.
Yeah, the frame game. So that's for the more technical mind. That's the most technical game we have.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's going to be trivia. So there's going to be competitive trivia, which is I'll name a tournament and I'll say who got 4th. You know, which one of these players got 4th? Which one of these like who did this person beat? Stuff like that, and that's all going to be different types of questions. But it's going to be like, you know, about big tournaments. So if you've been watching Melee, you have a good chance.
I have a great one actually for that.
Yeah. Well, type it, send it my way.
All right.
Yeah. So that one is I need to put a lot of work into that. But I've made trivia before. I've actually a lot of experience making trivia. I did it in college, so I'm not too worried. Oh, you're sending it right now. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you can hear the typing.
Oh, I could see in Discord that you're typing something.
Oh, really?
All right.
No,
well,
because
yeah.
I had this giant conversation about it, and so that's what was really funny about it. And everyone's like, "No, you're wrong." And I'm like, "No, guys, I'm really telling you.
No, send
this
it.
is what happened.
Send it.
Yeah,
my
I'll
way,
send
man.
it your way. Yeah.
Do it. So that's gonna be fun. I think that'll be one of the most competitive ones because I think everyone has a similar shot. Like most of us have been watching since the doc came out, like since Apex 2014, pretty much. And so there's going to be a lot of fun things to. Ooh, okay, that's hard.
That's hard, right?
Yeah.
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 Continue.
See, there's so much trivia to dive into, just competitive placing.
Yeah.
So that's another one. Then one of the games I'm going to play is I don't have a title for it yet, but the working title is "Do You Know This Mid-Level Player?" And
Interesting.
there's notable but not nationally known players all over the country, like second in Kentucky and stuff like that.
Oh, I know the third in Kentucky. I know the second in Kentucky. Or third. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I got what you're saying.
Right. So there's questions like that where if you're really in tune with the scene, then you should be able to take some of these, and that's going to be multiple choice too, so it's not going to be like impossible.
Mhm.
But I
It's
have a bunch of questions like
yeah.
this Link player. It lives in Tennessee. What's his name? And I'll list 4 Link players, but
Oh
only
my
one
god.
of them lives in Tennessee. Stuff
Interesting.
like that. So there's a lot of fun to be had with Melee trivia. There's another thing I'm not going to do for this time because it takes a lot more testing,
Yeah.
but it's going to be like a casual competitive mix, like a technical casual. So that means um, like how much damage does the bullet bill on Peach's castle do? Stuff like
Oh
that,
my god. That sounds crazy hard.
right? Right. So
That sounds crazy hard.
how
Yeah.
much at what percent on or how many seconds is a full lap of Rainbow Cruise? You know, these are just questions I'm pulling off the top of my head.
That's nuts.
So there's a lot of I think a trivia game with Melee it just hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
I think if done well, it could add a lot of value to stream. Just like,
Mhm.
hey guys, we're gonna have our little section. Most people in the venue are just gonna be warming up anyway, between doubles and singles. So singles hasn't started yet. And hopefully, this will be a good opportunity for like mid-level PR players, like Vortex, for example.
Mhm.
I hate to call him a mid-level player,
Yeah,
but
I was about to say
like PR'd player,
he
I should say.
probably will be top 100 this year, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So um, that was in the context of tri-state PR, where he's
Yeah.
hovering like 8 to 12. Anyway,
Mhm.
I don't need to give more respect to Vortex. He's incredible. The point is, I think players like that are always looking for opportunities to put themselves in the limelight, and that sounds bad. Put further their brand, work on projects, and
Yeah, I
so
mean,
yeah,
yeah, because top players don't even know fully. There are top players that suck at personal branding.
right. And that's the next stage of a lot of this is like just getting on stream so that people notice you, so that you have some hype behind you. And I think having something like this really gives an opportunity to see the personalities of so many tri-state people. I think yes, I'm hosting it, but as if this goes well and if we continue this as a monthly thing, then I think it has a lot of potential to bring together tri-state personalities and tri-state players
Mm.
around a very fun, just loose, but still competitive, which is kind of the spirit of Melee too, which is just like silly, but also people are going to be taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I just have I have a lot of high hopes. Plus the production team, like Barry's been on top of it. He's been working with me practically 3 or 4 times a week, making sure we're on schedule, making sure we have the time, all the details are being laid out as they
Yeah,
come
and this is
along.
really what you want to do as a content creator, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's so many, like, it's a variety show. So if I want to put together some cheeky little video, that's exactly where it's going to be
Hmm.
displayed. Um, I just don't want to go overboard with making it like me, me, me. I want
Yeah, of
to,
course.
I want to make sure that it's just a good product at all times.
Hmm.
So that Encore can benefit, and if Encore benefits, Tri-State benefits, Melee benefits. Like opportunities like this don't come around a lot, and so I'm really excited to just like, okay, let's see how good we can make this. We've been talking about this for 10 minutes. I've been rambling for 10 minutes. I
You
want to
want
hear,
me,
yeah,
you want me to say some shit?
yeah. I want to hear,
All right, let me spit some hot fire right now.
dope.
No, just yeah. I think one of the funniest ones, and this is just with Tri-State, right? Because like we really are like every region has its own like family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that um, what I want to say is I think that like what would be fun was like who's it's like almost like Pokemon, like who's that Pokemon, but like it's like who's that catchphrase, you know?
Huh.
I think there's so many like interesting mannerisms that we have, like if I did something like uh if I said something right and like everyone has a catchphrase, right? So like you have like the Long Island catchphrase and you can make it either like player specific or region specific. Like if I said what region says cook, you know what region says cook, right?
Yep.
Yep. Or like another one would be like, yeah. So like I think there's so many interesting ones like that could be like it would need, you need like a lot of thought on it,
Yeah,
not make it like
that's
the
hard to pin
obvious
down.
ones. But I think it could be really fun as like all of the inside jokes and stuff like that.
Right. I think it'd be fun to ask these just absurd questions that no one should understand, and having someone be like, "Oh, Long Island. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
oh, that's
Or if I
that's New
laughed,
England."
yeah, or if I laughed and was like, if I laughed and I was like, like I feel like a lot of people would know who's like does that laugh.
I don't.
From you don't know?
No.
That's the beer man like Chucky the Clown laugh. Anyway, you would have lost that question.
Yeah, I know. And I would have been the host. It would have been disappointing.
Very disappointing. But yeah, I think it's
I like the idea of that.
yeah, but less of like the ideas for your show because it seems like you're on top of it, but more like I think it's like really cool because like unlike me, like you're really balancing like you really want to also delve into like the content creation of this, right? Like, and I think this is such a cool opportunity for like you to do that and like you to like experiment again, like experiment, right? About like what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
What did you like doing? What did people like doing, right? Because it doesn't matter what you like doing; it's how other people like it.
Right.
In this sense, right? And it's almost the complete different aspect of what we talk about, where in Melee it's all about yourself, right? Like we're doing this podcast mostly for ourselves, or for right now it's mostly for ourselves, and we play for ourselves and we do it for ourselves, but like this is all about like how is it received, right?
Right. And I think the one thing that's been nagging at me ever since I've been wanting to do Melee content has just been I've been wanting to show the world that we have a like very refined community, and then to take that comedy of or take the real life situations or the reality rather of our community, and then do comedy off of that, because a lot of the content is comedy off of the game or just play like most Melee content is just the game, and comedy it's hard to pull. Like, am I gonna do jokes about like Mario versus Peach, like trying to find weird matchups? Like that doesn't do it for me. Like, the game is fun, the game is great. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about this huge pool of weirdness that is the Melee community. Just the amount of things that we say, how seriously we take it. Like, there's so many nuggets of truth that should be pulled out. And I would rather this is kind of bridging the gap. Like, trivia, it's more about like how well do we know the game. Let's have fun with it, because this isn't necessarily a comedy show. I actually am going to open up with a short monologue that I'm gonna try to
be careful.
Short.
But yeah.
Short.
No, I'm just saying that because I do not like the Scar monologues, like the Jimmy Fallon or like Stephen Colbert monologues, right?
Kind of.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of the Scar monologues.
Oh my gosh, I'll send it to you. They did it for their Summit like late night show.
Huh. Wow. Okay, I should watch that.
You should watch that.
Regardless, this is an opportunity to try a bunch of stuff out. We have an hour time slot. So I'm going to be doing a lot of work to make sure that I'm asking enough questions, and I'm hopefully going to have a production assistant that could kind of shuffle people in and out of working with us. It's not going to be fine-tuned. It's going to be rough around the edges, and that's just all part of the fun. And I'm not expecting it to blow up or to be like this hyper successful thing. If I had a goal for this, it's for the post of the VOD to be a successful New York City SSBM post that people get attention on that. That's all I need. That's all I need is for the region to come together and be like, this is fun. Let's make this better. Let's come together and turn this into something we could all be proud of, rather than just showing off who we are as players. Let's show who we are as people, and let's show that the Melee community isn't just the California people. It's so centralized now. Everyone you see, every personality is either West Coast or like some like Ginger is one person. All these people are so centralized that I want to find opportunities for New York City to show up and
that's hype.
do something fun.
Hype.
So that's my big goal, And that's that. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be exciting for sure.
It'll be a blast. I just want to, but all right. Here's where we get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enter singles also, and this has been something I've been worried about for a long time, is the balance between content / commentary and playing, as and taking it very seriously and trying to do as best as I can. Is that a John? Do you think I could John if I lose?
Is it a John? I think it's a John as much as you can say you bit off more than you could chew, or you weren't ready for I wasn't ready to fully ready to I wasn't expecting this to be so hard,
Right.
I don't think it's a John. It's just an acknowledgement of again, it's just it's not like you can't do it, because there's a lot of people that do content creation and then also just hop into bracket, right?
Right.
I think it's tough where it's a new thing, so I don't think it's a John, as it's you're just acknowledging that it's gonna be different, and it's not you're just a competitor anymore at that tournament.
Right.
Yeah. I guess it's interesting because I guess in my head I'm thinking why be a John, or why pre-Johning about it. I guess I don't know. I guess I would just say see what happens and take note of it than anything else. Not to worry about it, but understand that it's different and you gotta account for it. It's when you just play singles and then you do now singles and teams. There's a little adjustment between managing your energy levels and being ready for both teams and singles, and it's just something that will probably just take adjustment.
Yeah. I think what I'm most afraid of is finishing the show, and if it goes well or not, having that adrenaline, because it's something I've been preparing for it would be 3 weeks of preparation.
Yeah.
Getting that adrenaline rush, and then it's okay, now it's time to focus. I feel I want to set up a couple minutes to straight up meditate.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Have some water, have a healthy dinner. I think if I set myself up for success, I think I could even leverage that adrenaline into some sick melee if I do it right. And then I could, I think I could have it all theoretically. I think there's an opportunity for me to go from that to having a good bracket and then jumping on commentary, and I think there's a way for me to do it right, and it comes from a lot of work on the back end. Because if I'm staying up the night before, shit, I gotta finish all this, I'm stressing about different transitions, or I'm worried about even pulling it off. If I don't have all my ducks in a row, then I would have to drop out of singles. I would have to, there's a world where I'm just completely flailing and it becomes a disaster, and then I have to, recover from the terrible experience I had and apologize or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of some fun little pressure I have on myself now, is that, okay, I've made the post. People know this is happening. I have guests lined up. It's a go. Now it's up to me to execute. And I've, if I keep practicing, I think I could have just a killer day, just something I could be really proud of. And that's always good. That's why I love signing up for majors, is because it gives me something to work towards. Same kind of theory, it's having something that you have one shot, you have time to prepare, and if you come through, then then good for you. But if not, then that's on you.
Hmm. Yeah, I think like it's like you can only. I think right now you're like in the right mindset for like half of it. Like I love that you're like, yeah, I need to prepare for this because I know if I do it on the fly, it won't happen. But then I think once you get on that day, and I think whenever we get to that podcast, what will be that will be like 9 or 10 or something like that. Like we can just talk about it, like your thoughts afterwards. But it's like you for right now, just prep for the day, do everything you can for the day,
Mhm.
and then like when the day happens, just treat it like like am I host right now or am I a player right now? And just go one or the other. I don't think you can. I don't think it makes sense to like go in between,
Right, and
or like worry about it. Like
that's why I think I'm not going to do doubles.
yeah,
I want to take the beginning of the day to just, you know, this is happening, and then if I have free time, then sure I'll play some games. It's not about like being a commander where I have to be vigilant.
hmm
Just
yeah.
get there early, set up, talk to Barry, make sure everything's cool. It's not honestly, it's less of a big deal than I'm making it out to be.
It seems
Um,
like you have it under control
I
from
think
an
so.
outsider's perspective. I think you're just really excited for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this has been months of putting aside. We've had this project
Yeah.
lined up for a long time. I've just now been able to announce it, and I've got 5 guests on the first day out of 6.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they're good guests. Do you want to hear who we have?
Yeah, sure. Give the shout out.
So we have Vortex,
Ooh, that
Sun,
most handsome man in
the
Smash.
most handsome.
Yep.
We have Sun,
Ooh,
the man who
nice.
JV5'd you.
Ugh. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I live with my sins.
You took it really well at the time, and it's a funny clip.
No, it's such a funny clip because I hit last stock and it was game 3 and I was like, oh, and I hit last stock and I was just like, shit, I've not hit Nana yet. Or I've not hit Popo yet. And
Yeah,
like I had that last stock and oh my god.
that's
But yeah,
anyway. Sun will be there.
nice.
Um, Smokey, Smokey Blunts.
Oh, hype. Hype.
Our boy Jeremy, who just goes by Jeremy now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. I like that.
he's someone everyone in Tri-State knows.
Oh yeah,
He's
dude.
he's everyone's homie.
Nico has a sick Jeremy impression.
I'll have to ask him about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally we have Ipengu,
Ooh, that's
Tri-State
hype.
Zane.
Zane. The OG Zane.
OG, yeah. Well, who's older?
Zane with a E. I don't know. Isn't Zane older?
Ha.
But yeah, I think Pengu's older. But that's hype. That's hype.
Yeah. So that's a really good mix. Couple. Well, they're all good players, but a couple
Yeah.
like known players. I think Vortex is like holding it down for national notoriety. Smokey is like tri-state condensed
PR
into a
legend.
person. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
um, Sun is someone that everyone needs to meet.
Yep.
Jeremy is everyone's homie, and Ipengu
Yep.
is like breaking into the commentary content creation in a big way. Like he's just a workhorse. Um,
Yeah.
he inspires me. I love Ipengu.
Yeah. I mean, right? Esports, Cheddar Esports, analog, like interviews on his private channel.
Yeah,
The guy puts in work.
he works his ass off.
Best Falco versus Yoshi.
Oh my god, what a title!
What a title, right?
So dumb.
Um.
So I'm looking
Yeah.
for a 6th, and I'm I'm hoping that like DJ Nintendo is like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, or some like
Yeah.
crazy credible person. Maybe
Uh,
someone from Long Island, like a animal. Hope maybe Darktooth is like stuff like that. I think would be fun.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I'd throw my hat in the ring if I didn't commit to my boy for Gigahog.
hey man, you got next month.
I got next one. I guess so. Yeah, because I'm hyped for Gigahog actually. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a sick tournament
So
too.
do you want to talk about that real quick? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fair, right? It's on the same day. Might as well get the. Yeah, sounds good. I think dude, it's just gonna be so hype. I mean, it's like the week before Genesis. Like I hear like so many people are invading. Like I hear like obviously New England's invading, Delaware's I think thinking of invading, and I think what's really cool about it, I think, like, and I know like a few top players have committed, but I'm gonna let Stock do the announcements for that because that's his thing. Um, but I think what I think is really cool is the theme of this Gigahog. It's called Gigahog Era, and what it is he's trying to bring back all the OG Connecticut players back.
Wow. Like who?
Like so all the OG like Connecticut players in terms of PR. So he's bringing back like I think he's gonna try to bring back Sminkledorf,
Oh.
Ambi Sinister, Rolled Gold, the legendary Hood Cash. I don't know if you recognize that name.
Yeah, the legendary name I've never heard before.
Yeah. He's bringing back Yukon Doom, who was outright like one of the hottest things.
Peach, right?
Yeah. You remember Yukon Doom?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says bring back Yukon Doom. I'm gonna be back because I'm an OG Connecticut player actually.
Shut up.
No, I know. No, I am. My birth was in Connecticut.
Okay.
Because I lived in Wilton, Connecticut. So when I really started out Smash, and I went to like my first Nebulas and stuff like that, and I went to like a lot of Hogs and stuff over break. Like I started in upstate New York for sure, but like my other thing was in Connecticut. Like I'm from the same town as Yukon Doom, from S2B, from K, like the whole Yukon like TMG team that got to the North, like the East finals at Bus 3. I'm part of that town. Like that was all my town.
Okay, all right, I'll give it to you. That's hype.
I was still a Falco back then, but
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
I was a Sheik at that point.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I think the theme's gonna be really good. It's gonna be like a real big like community event, right? And that's I think what's gonna be making the most hype. On top of like just tons and tons of. It's just gonna be a stack bracket, right?
Cool. It sucks that Super Smashed Out had to overlap, but
yeah, really unfortunate.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, at least it's like the goals are different, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm never too worried about conflicts as long as the TOs are cool with it. That's I don't like when TOs kind of nip at each other, but apparently both the TOs of Super Smashed Out and the TOs of Hog talked about what's going on, and they're all cool with it. They're all in understanding with each other. So
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, so it looks like both events are going to do pretty well. Yeah, great. So we'll talk about that next week also.
Yeah.
Talk about like preparations. Speaking of preparations, what are your goals for this upcoming week?
Oh, my goals for upcoming week. Really? Let's see. I'm excited actually to like. I'm in the midst of cleaning my room. I was folding my clothes a little bit earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, I need to do that too.
Just kind of to get a fresh start, clear the room and stuff. But aside from that, goals for the week, I just need to get back to my normal routine, man. Like meditating and journaling every day. Like think, also, I have to do a lot of analysis, actually, because I just had my like lesson with.
We didn't talk about that. No, we'll save it. Save it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so fresh though.
Sorry. Write it down and it'll be good to revisit.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just had my lesson with Drug Fox. So like that was really cool. I learned a lot. When you reviewed me versus IBDW, like the friendly sessions that I talked about like 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
Learned a lot, and it's so crazy. Like I just want to. Dude, like he is such a good teacher. Like in the way where it's like both like he doesn't make like he sees the game like for what it is so many times. Like he's not seeing like, oh, it's Cody versus me or anything like that. He's like I think our first 2 interactions was Cody doing like these stupid drills from the platform and me getting 2 free grabs. And he's like, well, see, you got 2 free grabs here. This could have been like the game, right? It's just like you didn't choose the right things afterwards. And I think he makes it feel that like, I guess this is a little bit I'll get into, is that he makes it feel that like everything can be fixed, because it's not like an inherent problem. It's just like, oh, like either you didn't know that or you're choosing wrong.
Awesome.
And that feels so like what's the word, reassuring, right? Especially at our level where, you know, or at any level, I'm sure.
I'm glad you didn't save it. I want to hear more about it. I want to hear. Okay, so
We can go in depth,
yeah,
but I had to preface it a little bit.
no, no,
We
that's
can't say just hold it, you know?
I know. I'm sorry, but I'm happy you said that because I think it'll be really interesting to hear. You know, you gave us a little taste of what he was saying, and then I want to hear what you do with that in this next week, and I want
Yeah.
to start off with how that went and what practice you did very specifically, and we could get into like the technicalities of improving. We're gonna have a sick
Okay.
episode.
Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah,
Write that down. I'm gonna forget it, but
I have
you're gonna be
Post-its.
the man that
Bro,
reminds me of.
I got office supplies on deck. Okay, I'll write it down after we finish because we're about to end.
Yeah, sounds good.
My goals are to keep practicing. Yeah, just solidify all the habits that I've let slip. Like I haven't exercised over the break as much as I wanted to. Like I went once to the gym last week. So I want to get back up to that 3 times a week. I want to make sure I'm practicing every morning. I want to make sure that today I want to get some nice video editing done. Make this a really nice Saturday where I'm like, okay, like, cause I have so many, I have like a vlog I haven't edited. I have some footage, some comedy footage that I haven't touched. Like, let's get to work, man. Let's
You got a new podcast show to edit?
I want to edit this day. I want to start editing these day of also.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I just don't sit on it and then, get complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
But yeah, I let's crank the dial up, man. Let's hit the ground running. You motivate me very much. And
As you do you.
so
As do you.
It's really cool again to talk to you weekly.
Yeah.
And I promise I won't lose the footage this time.
Yeah. No worries about that. I still need to make the Twitter post, so that's incoming.
That's cool.
And as we're on Twitter, right? As we're talking about Twitter, we started a new YouTube page, right?
Yeah.
We gotta do a little plug. I mean,
Yeah.
we're six episodes in now. Like, we can say it at the end, right?
Right. So we have a new YouTube. That's where this is probably going to be. But if you're listening to this on audio, just go to SSB Wannabes on YouTube. Let me find the exact spelling. Hold your stinking horses.
Yeah. All right. Well, you do that. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter on SSB_wannabes. 1 E at the end. I made that mistake. And so, yeah, follow us on Twitter for any updates and stuff like that. If you want to just reach out, talk to us, have a question or whatever, I'm always happy to talk about it. I'll forward it to JD. But yeah, we really want to start building a community around this podcast, right?
Yeah. If you guys are listening and you enjoy it, just leave a comment. We will make sure to answer it. We want to make statements. We want to. What does that even mean? I'm on YouTube now. I have the exact spelling. We want to learn how to do this better. We want to learn what people actually care about rather than just what me and Will care about. And with that being said, make sure you subscribe to SSB Wannabes. That's SSB space WANNABES.
Yeah,
and
that's
comments.
the same for Twitter.
Great. Yeah, so we already are on the right track with that. This is still early stages. We still need like some pictures and descriptions and all that stuff. We're just doing it for us. Guys, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks again, everyone. And yeah, if you have any questions, you want to be like, yo, where do you get that sick quote from? What manga? Hit me up. What book? Hit me up.
Yeah, DMs are always open.
DMs are open. And really just, follow just for the updates, we're going to post on NYCSSBM every time, but, just, so you get it fresh, the fresh roll.
Yeah, we're not going to be annoying. So there's going to be a time where we skip a week or you might miss us. So subscribe if you like. That's pretty much all we got, right?
Yeah, that's it. Let's cut it at that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Peace.